It is the world's most neglected conflict, a forgotten colony seized by a neighbour who declared it its own, and 200,000 of whose people are refugees in a foreign land. We're talking of Western Sahara, still technically a Spanish colony, whose liberation movement, the Polisario, have struggled for almost 40 years for independence. It represents one of the great tragedies of post-colonial Africa. Today, the territory of Western Sahara is ruled over illegally by Morocco, half the population segregated under Moroccan rule, the rest refugees in tents in neighbouring Algeria. In a moment, we'll be speaking with the actor Javier Bardem, who is trying to reawaken the world to this tragedy with a film.
She sent you after me knowing you're not ready, knowing you would likely die. Mommy was very bad.
It is an unlikely contrast to the villain he played in the last James Bond film and to his Oscar-winning performance in No Country for Old Men, which helped make him one of Spain's most famous actors. But his film, Sons of the Clouds, was inspired by a trip to a film festival in a refugee camp in the desert. He stayed with Western Saharans, or Sahrawis, as they call themselves, nomads who in the 1970s were forced to flee Western Sahara when the Spanish rulers left and Morocco laid claim to their territory. The documentary tells the story of the 35 years since, when the Sahrawis had been campaigning to get their country back. But while under Moroccan rule, their only choice has been to fight their oppressor or live in the Moroccan-occupied north, or in refugee camps in the Algerian desert. In 1991, there was a breakthrough, a ceasefire and a UN agreement for a referendum on independence. But this vote has never happened, continuously blocked by Morocco. 200,000 people still live in refugee camps.
Es que ya no aguantamos, es que ya no hay aguante, porque estando todo un tiempo yo aquí exiliado en un territorio que no es mío, no puedo planificar para mi futuro.
The film documents Bardem's campaign to the United Nations, the Moroccan government, the United States and Spanish governments for justice in Western Sahara. Well, Javier Bardem joins us now. Javier Bardem, before you went to that film festival in the desert, how much did you know about Western Sahara?
I knew a lot because my mother was actually an activist for the Sahrawi women. And in Spain, we are very aware of that situation because Spain is a very direct responsible of the Western Sahara situation. So I knew a lot, but I didn't experience anything until I got into the refugee camps in 2008.
And what is the first thing you want to try to achieve with this film?
Just some awareness, because beyond Spain, I don't think no society in any country knows a lot or in almost anything about the situation in Western Sahara. So, with a lot of humble, we want to make this piece of a movie be seen by as many people as we can.
Now, I mean, the backdrop to our conversation is tents. And many of these people have been in these tents for 30 years, whole families who have never known anything outside a tented existence. What was it like, actually, for you to experience this yourself?
As an experience, it was, well, what can I say, very, very rewarding at every level. But also, it was, you end up being very furious and very kind of ashamed of what we created there. And when I say we, I mean many countries. Especially England, France, United States, Spain, and Morocco.
And we could be a bit more specific, really. Spain through not doing anything, Morocco for doing a lot of illegal things, and France for doing nothing to stop them.
Exactly. At the end, the Security Council in the United Nations is France always who is doing veto to the...
They actually veto attempts to do something.
Exactly, which is basically something very strong to take, because we're talking about human rights abuses in Western Sahara, in the occupied territories. And of course, Spain has a lot to say about it, but Spain and France, I would say, they are totally, driven by what Morocco says.
Are you going to try the film in French in France?
We want to show the film in France, and we are trying to do the same thing that we did in Spain, in England, we're doing, and in the States. But it's not that easy, but we will achieve.
Now, there was a referendum that the UN called so that people could actually do what the UN Charter suggests in post-colonial circumstances, which decide their own future. Exactly. That should have happened in 1991. It was effectively stopped by Morocco. Is there any possibility of getting a referendum going?
I think there are two things here to address. One is the referendum, that the right for self-determination from the Sahrawi people, which is a very obvious right, because they were invaded by Morocco in 75, 76. But also, and what we chose to show in the movie is the constant violation of basic human rights in the occupied territory, in Laayoune and many other places where Morocco took place. And because, again, the veto of the great nations that conform the Security Council, they are told, do whatever you want, it's okay. And it's a shame for United Nations.
Now, I've never seen you as a politically motivated actor. I mean, your films that you appear in are, well, look at Skyfall for a start. Are you politically motivated?
I don't think nobody is not politically motivated. We are all politically motivated in the sense that everything's political. Every time you put fuel in your car, you are doing a political statement.
But now you've put yourself out in a pretty open way.
I've been out there for a while, but I guess not internationally. And it's okay. You know that once you have an opinion, you have enemies. But also you may find more friends.
How seriously do you think, I mean, you went to the UN yourself, you saw the key individual in the UN who has his finger on this problem. You've been to the Foreign Office too.
Yes.
Do you really hear any voices which say, Javier, you're right, we're going to fix this thing?
What I can tell, based on the relationships that I have with many ambassadors and people who are really in positions to do something about it, is that mostly all the people know that it's right and they should do something about it because it's a shame on United Nations and on diplomacy in general. The problem is, can they do anything? And that's why we talk about the movie. It's realpolitik, which is, it's not about people. It's about numbers. It's about geographic places where the economical interest is huge. It's about things that at the end goes beyond what is logical.
Well, what about putting it back in your own back garden, the Spanish?
Well,
I mean, you have massive influence in Spain. You're probably the most famous, along with your wife, actor that's ever lived in Spain.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily good.
No, but on the other hand, a government likes to keep reasonably popular with the populace.
But we in the movie we have this moment where we took like almost 300,000 signatures from people saying they have to really help the referendum to happen, and we brought it to the Prime Minister, and they, of course, they didn't even open the gate to us. So they don't care. In Spain, it's a country, no matter what the government is, right or left, blue or red, it doesn't matter. They don't want to deal with this situation. It's like a hot potato for them.
Javier Bardem, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.